Good evening. Tonight we pull back the curtain on the final chapters of lives lived in the blinding spotlight. We thought we knew their stories, saw their struggles, and understood their endings. But what if the official narratives, the headlines we read, only told half the tale? What if the true, raw, and often heart-wrenching truth lay hidden, sealed away in confidential files, until now? Tonight we unseal those records, not to sensationalize, but to understand, to honor the full, complex humanity of the legends we lost, and to confront the profound ironies that often shadowed their final, most private moments. These are the secrets they carried, the battles they fought, and the final truths revealed in their unsealed coroner's files. We begin with a name that echoes with both immense talent and profound tragedy: Bobbi Kristina Brown. Born into a dynasty, the only child of Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown, she was, from her very first breath, royalty. A little princess, destined to inherit a musical throne, a golden child in the eyes of millions who adored her parents. You know, it's hard to imagine the weight of expectation on such young shoulders, to be the living legacy of two global icons. She spent her early years basking in that glow, a cherished daughter, often seen on red carpets, her innocent smile a reflection of a seemingly perfect, if tumultuous family. The world watched her grow, hoping she would find her own voice, her own stage, free from the immense pressures that came with her lineage. But beneath the surface, the foundations of her world were already beginning to crack. Her parents' very public struggles, their own battles with personal demons, painted a vivid, often painful backdrop to her childhood. She was a witness to both their soaring triumphs and their devastating falls, experiences that, for any child, would leave an indelible mark. The spotlight that illuminated her birth also magnified every subsequent challenge, every stumble. She carried the immense burden of her mother's fame, and then the even heavier burden of her mother's tragic passing. The year 2012 brought a seismic shock that would forever alter Bobbi Kristina's trajectory. Her mother, the legendary Whitney Houston, was found unresponsive in a hotel bathtub. The world reeled, and Bobbi Kristina, barely 19, was thrust into an unimaginable spotlight of grief and scrutiny. The loss was profound, shattering. In the years that followed, she grappled with that immense void, navigating her grief publicly, trying to find her footing in a world that suddenly felt hollowed out. The pressures mounted. Pressures to maintain her mother's legacy, to find her own identity, all while battling the ghosts of her past. The coroner's file, now unsealed, reveals a clearer picture of her final, desperate days. It speaks of lobar pneumonia and hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy, brain death from lack of oxygen. But it also details a cocktail of substances found in her system: marijuana, alcohol, and anxiety medication. These weren't just random findings. They paint a picture of a young woman struggling, perhaps self-medicating, trying to quiet the noise and the pain. The climax, as the file chillingly describes, was immersion. Face down in a bathtub filled with water. She was found in that state, but never regained consciousness, her life slipping away over months in a hospital bed. Here is the secret that was never truly a secret, just too terrible to face. The coroner's file on Bobbi Kristina is a mirror image, a haunting echo. Less than 3 years earlier, her mother, Whitney Houston, was found in the exact same way, unresponsive in a hotel bathtub. The scene photos, the circumstances, the toxicology. It's not just a link, it's a terrifying pattern, a generational tragedy passed from a global icon to her only child. The ultimate, gut-wrenching irony is one of inheritance. Bobbi Kristina was the sole heir to Whitney Houston's entire estate. The fortune, the music, the legacy. But the one inheritance that truly defined her, the one that ultimately claimed her life, was the tragedy itself. She inherited her mother's kingdom, but died recreating her mother's final desperate moments. A heart-breaking echo across generations, a final secret laid bare by the chilling details of a coroner's report. From the profound sorrow of a generational echo, we turn to a story of immense silent strength: Chadwick Boseman. His name for many became synonymous with heroism, dignity, and a quiet, powerful grace. He burst onto the global stage not as a newcomer, but as a seasoned actor who had meticulously honed his craft, bringing to life figures of historical significance: Jackie Robinson, James Brown, Thurgood Marshall. He embodied these legends with an authenticity that transcended mere performance, giving us glimpses into the souls of men who changed the world. Then came Black Panther. As King T'Challa, he became more than just a superhero. He became a cultural icon, a symbol of pride, power, and possibility for millions around the globe. His portrayal resonated deeply, inspiring a generation, his regal presence and unwavering strength on screen undeniable. He was in his prime, a star ascending, seemingly invincible, a beacon of hope and talent. The world saw him as a man in full command, a true hero in every sense of the word. But the unsealed files reveal a truth far more profound, a battle waged in absolute secrecy. The official cause of death is recorded as complications related to stage 4 colon cancer. While the public knew of his passing from cancer, the secret within this file is not the what, but the when. Chadwick Boseman was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer in 2016. For 4 agonizing years, as he rose to global superstardom, as he filmed some of the most physically demanding roles of his career, he was privately engaged in a relentless battle for his life. This fact was hidden from the world, from the studios, and from nearly all of his co-stars. Think about that for a second. While portraying King T'Challa, a hero defined by his superhuman strength and vitality, he was undergoing chemotherapy and multiple surgeries. He delivered those iconic, physically intense performances, all while his own body was being systematically weakened by disease. He gave the world an icon of enduring power, all while his own was secretly fading, piece by painful piece. The pressure must have been immense, not just to perform, but to conceal, to protect the magic of his work from the harsh reality of his illness. He endured grueling treatments, the debilitating side effects, the constant threat to his energy and focus. Yet he never faltered in his commitment to his craft, or to the hope he inspired. The tragic link here is undeniable, almost poetic. Chadwick Boseman's entire public legacy was built on portraying real-life titans, men who broke barriers through immense struggle. The final file reveals that his greatest, most challenging role was the one he never spoke of, playing himself, a healthy and thriving star, in public. He used his last years, not in self-pity, but to create art that would inspire and outlive him, making his life the most powerful performance he ever gave. The ultimate irony is not that a man playing a superhero was secretly sick. It's that the very strength and resilience he projected on screen, the quiet dignity he embodied, was a reflection of the unimaginable personal war he was fighting. He taught us about heroism through his characters, but he lived it through his silence. How many battles are fought in silence, even by those we celebrate most loudly? His story reminds us that true strength is often found not in invincibility, but in enduring grace under fire, even when no one else knows the fight is happening. From silent strength, we turn to an undeniable force, a voice that commanded respect and shook the very foundations of music. Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul. Her voice, a gift from above, was an instrument of power, passion, and undeniable truth. From her early days in gospel to her global reign as a pop and R&B superstar, she carved a path that few could ever hope to follow. Her songs became anthems, not just of love and heartbreak, but of civil rights and female empowerment. Respect wasn't just a song. It was a demand, a declaration, sung with such conviction that it became a rallying cry for generations. She was a woman in absolute control on stage, her presence regal, her talent boundless, her business acumen sharp. She built an empire, not just of music, but of influence, commanding every note, every performance, every deal. She was a formidable figure, a legend who seemed to hold the world in the palm of her hand. Her golden years were a testament to her enduring power, still performing, still captivating, still the queen. Yet, even a queen has her private battles, her hidden defenses. The coroner's file, now unsealed, confirms her public diagnosis: pancreatic neuroendocrine tumor, a slow, insidious cancer that ultimately claimed her life in 2018. But the official documents only tell you how the Queen of Soul died. They don't tell you about the secret she carried to the end, one that would only be revealed when the vaults were opened after her passing. Aretha Franklin, for all her public command, was fiercely private. She projected an image of absolute control on stage, but in her private life, she was deeply wary, distrustful of outsiders, particularly when it came to her personal affairs and her immense fortune. This fierce protectiveness, this desire for absolute personal control, manifested in a critical omission, a secret that would shock her family and the world. She had no formal, professionally prepared will. Instead, investigators for her estate unearthed multiple, conflicting handwritten documents, one famously found under a couch cushion, another in a locked cabinet. The woman who controlled every note and every business deal, who demanded and received respect, refused to cede control of her legacy to lawyers and formal processes, creating a private, paper fortress to protect her kingdom that would ultimately prove impossible for anyone else to navigate. The tragic link here is the heartbreaking contrast between her public persona of command and the private chaos she left behind. The ultimate irony is that the woman who immortalized the demand for respect and whose voice brought order and meaning to millions left her own final affairs in a state of disarray. By guarding her wishes so closely that she never properly recorded them in a legally binding way, the queen who built an empire for her family inadvertently set the stage for a painful, public battle among her own sons over the very throne she had built. You know, it makes you wonder, doesn't it, about the legacies we leave behind, both intentional and unintentional. Even for a legend like Aretha, the desire for absolute control, when taken to its extreme, can lead to unforeseen and tragic consequences for those left behind. From the Queen of Soul, we pivot to a king of cinematic intensity, Ray Liotta. His very presence on screen was electric, a live wire of raw emotion and unpredictable energy. He wasn't just an actor. He was a force of nature. From his breakout role in Something Wild to his unforgettable turn as Shoeless Joe Jackson in Field of Dreams, and especially as the iconic Henry Hill in Goodfellas, Liotta embodied characters that seethed with an almost unbearable intensity. He played men on the edge, men whose inner turmoil was etched on their faces, whose charm could turn to menace in a blink. He was the kind of actor who left an indelible mark, whose performances stayed with you long after the credits rolled. He possessed a unique charisma, a dangerous charm that made him perfect for complex, often volatile roles. His career spanned decades, marked by a dedication to his craft and an unwavering commitment to bringing authenticity to every character, no matter how dark or conflicted. For months after his passing, the narrative was simple. He died in his sleep at the age of 67. A quiet, peaceful end for a man known for his explosive energy. But the official documents from the Dominican Republic, now obtained and unsealed, tear that veil of simplicity away, revealing a final, frantic battle that took place inside his body, completely unknown to the outside world. The official determination from the coroner's report paints a grim, clinical picture far from a peaceful passing. The cause was a cascade of systemic failure. Acute heart failure, pulmonary edema, his lungs filling with fluid, and respiratory insufficiency, the silent underlying condition that triggered it all, severe atherosclerosis. His arteries, it turned out, had been hardening for years, a hidden time bomb set against the intensity of his life and work. Ray Liotta famously struggled to leave the character at work, often taking the emotional weight of his roles home with him. The Unsealed file suggests a tragic parallel. While he was portraying men on the edge of collapse, his own cardiovascular system was waging a similar, silent war, stressed by a lifetime of intensity both on and off screen. This wasn't a sudden, unexpected event. It was the culmination of years of internal wear and tear, a body under immense hidden strain. The tragic link is the ghost in the machine, the constant internal struggle mirroring his external performances. Ray Liotta, a man celebrated for his visceral portrayal of characters under immense pressure, was himself under immense, silent physical duress. The ultimate, cruel script, however, is found in the title of the film he was shooting when he passed, Dangerous Waters. The coroner's report confirms his lungs literally filled with fluid, a drowning from within. The man known for some of cinema's most iconic violent deaths, betrayed, shot, and beaten on screen, ultimately passed away in the quiet of a hotel room, a victim, not of a cinematic villain, but of his own body. In the end, the dangerous waters were not in the script, but inside his own body, a final, heartbreaking irony for a legend whose intensity defined a generation of film. From the raw intensity of the screen, we transition to a radiant light, a voice that charmed the world, and a smile that could melt any heart. Olivia Newton-John. To many, she was the embodiment of sunshine and vitality. From her early days as a country pop sensation to her global phenomenon status as Sandy Olsen in Grease, and then her transformation into the energetic icon of Physical, she captivated audiences with her wholesome charm, her infectious energy, and her undeniable talent. She was a symbol of vibrant health, optimism, and enduring youth. Her career was a testament to her versatility, adapting and evolving with the times, always maintaining that signature grace and warmth. She was, in every sense, a star whose light seemed to shine brighter with each passing year, a true darling of the music and film worlds. We saw her as perpetually youthful, eternally optimistic, a woman who seemed to glide through life with an effortless glow. Yet, the file, now unsealed, reveals a different kind of story. Not a hidden cause of death, but a hidden war. The official narrative was clean, a graceful exit after a long illness. But the complete medical history, now fully compiled, paints a picture of a meticulously documented 30-year siege against her own body. The cause, as publicly known, was metastatic breast cancer, stage 4. But the secret revealed in the clinical notes is the sheer relentlessness of the adversary. This wasn't one battle. It was a series of campaigns, with periods of fragile peace shattered by brutal new fronts. This wasn't a sudden illness. It was a companion, a shadow that walked with her for decades. The final entry closes a case file that was first opened in 1992, documenting a conflict that spanned 3 decades and ultimately overwhelmed every defense. For 30 years, the world's symbol of vitality was forced to spend half her adult life managing a progressive, incurable decay, a battle she largely hid behind an unwavering public smile. The pressure to maintain her image, to continue performing, to radiate positivity while facing such a relentless foe, must have been immense. She chose to fight with grace, with dignity, and with a quiet determination that few could have imagined. The tragic link is the profound dichotomy between her public image and her private reality. The star known for bringing light was fighting an ever-encroaching darkness within. But here lies the ultimate irony, laid bare in the complete record of her life and death. The disease that silently stalked her for decades. The one that ended her story is the very thing that forged her most enduring legacy. The final secret isn't one she took to the grave. It's the one she built for the world to see. The Olivia Newton-John Cancer Wellness and Research Center stands as a monument, funded by her fame and fueled by her pain. The illness that consumed her body became the catalyst that will save the lives of others, ensuring her name is now synonymous not just with pop stardom, but with a fight she ultimately transformed from a personal tragedy into a public triumph. Her story reminds us that true strength isn't just about what we achieve, but how we face our deepest challenges. What a testament to the human spirit, wouldn't you say? And finally, we look at a man who was, for decades, the very embodiment of cool, charm, and rugged masculinity. Burt Reynolds. He was a superstar, an icon, the ultimate leading man whose mischievous grin and undeniable swagger defined an era of Hollywood. From his breakout role in Deliverance to his legendary turn as the Bandit in Smokey and the Bandit, he commanded the screen with an effortless charisma that made him one of the biggest box office draws of his time. He was a football star turned actor, a man who exuded strength, athleticism, and an almost invincible aura. He was the centerfold, the stuntman, the tough guy who could take any hit and grin. His golden years saw him transition into more character-driven roles, earning critical acclaim and reminding everyone of the depth behind the dazzling smile. He built an empire on his image, an image of indestructible masculinity and boundless energy. But even the most robust facades can conceal hidden vulnerabilities, and the coroner's file, now unsealed, provides a stark reminder. The official report reads cardiopulmonary arrest, a massive heart attack. It sounds sudden, an abrupt end. But the file makes it clear. This wasn't sudden. It was the inevitable conclusion to a long, slow burn of a health crisis that had been building for years. The secret within these pages isn't a single event, but a cumulative toll. You have to go back to the file from February 2010. That's when Burt underwent a quintuple bypass surgery. The press reported it, but what wasn't fully understood was that this was the endgame in motion. This was the direct, physical consequence of a life lived at full throttle, a life of punishing stunt work, and the chronic pain that followed. Most critically, it was the multi-decade dependency on pain medication that began after his jaw was shattered on the set of City Heat in 1984. He wasn't just fighting pain. His body was fighting the cure, and his heart was paying the ultimate price. The final arrest wasn't an isolated event. It was an echo of that bypass, a final, tragic surrender after years of internal struggle. The tragic link is the relentless wear and tear on a body that was once his greatest asset, now slowly betraying him. For 50 years, Burt Reynolds' stock in trade was his body, the athleticism, the swagger, the impossible durability. He was the physical embodiment of the American tough guy. The final, brutal irony is that the man who built an empire on physical invincibility was brought down not by a car crash or a movie villain, but from within. His heart, the one organ hidden from the cameras, was the one part of him that couldn't handle the strain of being Burt Reynolds. The very qualities that made him a star. The intensity, the willingness to push boundaries, the physical demands of his craft, ultimately contributed to his silent, internal decline. He gave us so much, but at what cost to himself? The Unsealed file closes the book on a life lived large, but also on a silent battle fought in the shadows of his dazzling fame. The unsealed files of these legends paint a canvas far richer, far more human than the public narratives we once knew. They remind us that behind every iconic face, every powerful voice, every heroic role lies a complex individual grappling with their own vulnerabilities, their own silent battles. Whether it was a generational echo of tragedy, a secret war fought with quiet dignity, an ironic battle over legacy, an internal struggle mirroring an intense career, or a decades-long fight against illness, each story unveils a deeper layer of truth. These are the final secrets, now brought into the light, not to diminish their legacies, but to deepen our understanding and appreciation for the full measure of their lives. They remind us that fame, fortune, and talent do not inoculate us from the human condition. Take care of yourselves and hold your loved ones close. Memory is the only thing that truly lasts forever.